Okay, let us resume here. I woke with my eyes fixed on the ceiling wallpaper. A sense of dread lingered from a nightmare I no longer remembered. How many more times would I see this apartment before I return to my own world? Oh boy, plenty more times, I feel like. Get ready for the day, shake off thoughts. And here we go. Got something for you. Envelope for the facility. Oh, that's right, the blood tests. So, time for another murder investigation. And also save Bryce from being blown up. That said, I've been told that nothing different is going to happen for this scene, which makes sense. Remy and Anna, neither of them have been part of this scene before, so I don't expect them to be here anyway. So, let's go ahead and skip ahead. I'm pretty sure there's nothing that I would skip over that I would want to see. Oh hey, it's you again. Buford says Bryce can't get blown up anymore. Right. Good to know. So here's where Sebastian comes along and informs us to check out the place where Bryce will no longer get blown up. So Sebastian and Bryce are going to head to the place first, while I have the opportunity to speak with Maverick. No, didn't think so. I wasn't necessarily doing anything on this run that would allow me to. So, wait for the phone call. I get sent there. Things have been quiet. But we're gonna head in and do the investigating. We'll find the eggs, we'll find the trap. Safely. Surprisingly, I don't have the option to skip this scene. I'll go ahead. I find the thing. Considering at this point in the game, Reza thinks I'm on his side, imagine how he would feel if he found out that he accidentally blew me up. Anyway, PDAs recovered, stolen eggs recovered, generators recovered. I gotta help with the investigation because they're short-staffed. They're asking help from other cities, but ultimately they're not going to come into play. Meet with a witness about the Big Bangs. I don't think I necessarily need to worry about that. I'm pretty sure the witness was Ipson. This is where I convinced Sebastian to leave his post to watch the fireworks so that he won't die. Okay, first things first, eggs. Alright, this guy. This is where we found this guy. Hello, fuzzy friend. What was your name again? Kevin. Hi, Kevin. Hey, I'm Kevin. Perhaps interest you. College stuff. He's a recruiter for the college? No, just a summer job. I have no reason to invite him. I can't remember if this prevented me from doing other things, but I'm just going to go ahead and excuse myself. Oh, I should really be going. I have some things to take care of. Alright, no problem. See ya. Here we are again. Hey, Erika! What are you doing here? Oh, I just came by to drop these off. Drop what off? The stolen eggs. I figured the hatchery would want them back. Oh, I was actually going to go get those from the police department later. I'm so glad that they got back safely. Emily, stop chewing my leg. Okay, you said Amelia was pregnant when she died, and I didn't bring it up at the time, but I wondered how she was pregnant if dragons lay eggs. And my first thought was maybe you're pregnant with the egg before finally laying them for a bit? But suddenly it occurs to me that maybe pregnancy in this context doesn't mean within the belly, but instead having an egg and having laid the egg. No, never mind. Buford says she had a fertilized egg inside of her. So it was my first theory. She just hadn't laid it yet. Well, then that's a bummer. Unless there's a chance that egg was saved. Keepa says that she has Anna marks. I was just noticing those myself, those blue stripes on her back. Oh well. Anyway, I was about to go inside, so I'll take those off your hands. Thanks for bringing them here. No problem. Ah, here we go. Adine, wait for me. Good job, Erika. Looks like you took my advice. Yeah, Adine and I had a good long talk. And now, here we are. I'm glad we did. It was long overdue. Hey, it's Vera! Vera? Do you know who that is? She doesn't talk much. Yeah, I noticed. So did I. It's not unusual for someone who's had a rough life like her. She's definitely listening, though. Isn't that right? I think we should go inside. Yeah, probably. Well, see you some other time, Erika. Thanks for coming. So I'm under the impression we might not actually have a hangout with Vera. She might not be the mystery dragon alongside Emera. So I'm kind of wondering who that other dragon might be. Possibly Maverick? Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and take the PDA to the library now. Doesn't look like Remy is here. For obvious reason. Oh yeah, you. I don't know who you are, but I know we've seen you at this point before. Excuse me, can I help you? Know where this audio section is? No idea, don't work here, don't worry about it. Have a good day, you too. Before says a backer dragon. Maybe Remy is somewhere in the back or in his office. Nope, it's gonna be Emera. Usually for staff only. Looking for Remy. Drop off this PDA. Not working today. Apparently he has other engagements. I wonder what the other engagements were the first time. If you need to find him, probably do so at his home. Nope, not really. Can't I just leave the PDA here? I am not going to take responsibility for this if it gets lost. If you want to drop it off, go find him. Okay. Hope you do not take it personally that I tried to send you away. I'm glad you're still here. Remember, I said that I believed you when you told me your side of the story. Always have to do what is in the public's best interest, and now they will not blame me if you have any connection with Reza. Hope you can understand that. Yeah, you're playing the political game. Here's Remy's address in case you need it. Thank you. So now he'll be here instead? Alright then. Hello, Erika. What are you doing here? Give you this. One of your PDAs. Told you one would find its way to me eventually. Now you can look at all the human knowledge you want. No idea how much I'm looking forward to that. May not be working today. Still going to check it out as soon as possible. I'll leave you to it. Thanks. Enjoy. So nothing new there. Thanks for all your help. Take care of remaining tasks. Take the rest of the day off. Alright, and then I get drugged. So here's this place. Okay, I know this scene is easy to skip through. So I'm just going to take a look at the first few sentences to see if I recognize this cave. Where am I? This is your hideout. Someone else used to live here until recently. Yeah, now I know who. And no, nothing changed about the dialogue, so skip. Okay, let's see here. Status still good. Let's meet with Remy. Oh, that must be him. But what? Remy? What's that on your face? Don't you know what it is? Well, it looks like lipstick, but I didn't know that was a thing here. You're right, it is lipstick. It's not something that existed in this world before, though. How did you get some, then? I have one of your PDAs, remember? I studied it a bit and came across the entry on lipstick. Based on the necessary ingredients, I realized I could make some myself, and so I did. I don't think the PDA was very specific on who gets to wear lipstick. Should I tell him? I don't think I need to tell him. Did you do this to look pretty for me? I just figured you'd miss these kind of things. Things that are normal for you. Okay. I'm not really a fan of makeup myself. I've tried makeup, it's just a hassle to deal with. It hasn't really been normal back home in quite a while. Lipstick isn't common these days. Okay, you know what though? Now I'm definitely glad that I decided to bring the PDAs to him. Didn't the entry specify that it's typically used by females? Darn, I was hoping I would have the option of not telling him. Kiba says he's clumsy. How doesn't he have the Joker smile? I don't know, maybe he practiced. Also possible he got the help, or got some help. Maybe Adine put it on for him. Now that you mention it, I did get that impression, but I found the sentiment a bit puzzling. Why would a product like this only be used by one gender? Well, I guess social norms dictated that certain traits are only desirable in one gender, thus highlighting them like this would increase the attractiveness. Oh, I get it now. It's all based on sexual dimorphism. The biological differences between the sexes are much greater in your species than it is in ours, so I suppose the traits you are looking for can be different too. Generally speaking, sexual dimorphism is much greater in mammals than it is in reptiles. While it can vary wildly by species, external indicators are pretty much always present, like memories, for example, an always present and often obvious reminder. This makes so much more sense now. It's kind of embarrassing. Okay, when I create a thumbnail for this video, I am so not going to spoil that he has lipstick on. Also, this talk of not very much sexual dimorphism among dragons and reptiles makes me wonder, what do these dragons sound like? Do any dragons have any sort of female voice, or do they all tend to sound the same-ish? It's probably something we'll never learn. For now, we'll just assume that they all sound like me. How unfortunate for them. Maddie says, probably a bit deeper than you'd expect looking at them. Well, that is also true. They are larger creatures, so they'd probably just naturally have deeper voices in general. Should I get rid of it? No, go ahead and keep it. Though I'm gonna save just to make sure that this doesn't lead to any sort of making fun of you. No, leave it on. It's not as if people here would know about its history. I suppose that's true. Besides, the thing about females wearing it isn't really a hard role, and there are males who do it too. Anyone can wear it if they really want to, really. Well, if you say so. Still, it's kind of uncomfortable, so I think I'd rather take it off. Uncomfortable? I suppose it's not really suited for our scales. That actually makes sense. Oh boy, animal testing. Here, that should do it. At the very least, him taking off the lipstick will make it easier to find a thumbnail for this video. Shall we go then? Actually, it seems we're pretty early. They're probably still setting up. I see. Well, we could just stay here in the meantime. No, for sure. I just realized I haven't actually been in here since I prepared the apartment for you. Have you read any of the books I got you? Oh, so you're the one who stocked the bookshelf? They're all library books. I wanted to provide you with a good sample of what we have to offer, so there should be something in there for anyone. You know, after one of the dates, I did have the option to read the books. I imagine I could have found some more books. Let me think here. Actually, I think I did read the extra books at one point. I read the continued adventures of that one guy and found out it was a series or something like that. Looks like you've read a few books in the Sheridan series. They're pretty interesting. Oh, really? I know they're not exactly highbrow, but they're entertaining. And what more do you want a book to be? I guess we all have our own tastes. Can I offer you some food or drink? I've barely used any of the stuff in the kitchen. Why not? I didn't want to touch anything that didn't at least resemble something I know. After all, I have no idea how to prepare them right, or even know if they are safe for me to eat. Maybe it wasn't such a good idea to get you all those perishables then. I wanted to provide you with a bit of everything, considering I had to prepare the apartment for someone I didn't really know much about. Oh, some of them are good. It's interesting to taste the subtle and sometimes not so subtle differences in the similar fruits we have back home. That does bring into question, did lemons really exist 65 million years ago? Or did the administrator happen to plant lemon trees upon her arrival? Did you throw anything out? I may have cracked a few eggs. Not really. Why do you ask? You've been here for nearly 2 weeks now, so even if some of them were safe for you to eat, they probably aren't anymore. Let me clean out your closet. We don't want to have any health hazards for you here, after all. Well, feel free. Just look at this. He showed me a juicy-looking, vaguely spherical fruit whose bright red color was unlike any other fruit I had ever seen. That's a very bright red. I don't think even our best apples could compare. Well, they're usually blue. Oh, gosh. Red means you're supposed to throw them away, as they have expired by then, and toxins might have already set in. Oh. Well, I wasn't planning on eating it anyway. Or this one. It's all moldy. This is starting to sound like my grandparents' fridge. I don't see any mold. Don't you see these spots? Sure, but if that's supposed to be mold, it looks very different from the mold we have back home. I see. Whew, neat. Prehistoric mold. B4 says lemons are estimated to have come about 8 million years ago. So yeah, Administrator. Maybe it wasn't such a good idea to stock up on perishables. I didn't consider all the implications of doing something like this. Had you eaten the wrong thing, you could be in the hospital right now. And don't stress yourself out about it. Honestly, someone would have to be pretty reckless to just go ahead and start munching on things they don't know about. And yet I ate the special. If anyone was smart enough to be sent here, they probably wouldn't take a risk like that. Well, I'm glad to hear it. Nevertheless, I better get rid of everything that's past its date. We don't really want the mold in the air either. If you say so. Once more, he dove into the closet. I heard him rummaging around as he checked the fruits and vegetables thoroughly. That should be everything. Thanks. I bet the wine didn't go bad, though. Do you want some? B4 brings up that I also indulged in some pain pills. Yeah. As an aside, the hospital would have had a field trip with me. Maddie says, thank goodness there were no potatoes going green. Oh boy, I know all about that. There's been a couple of occasions where we had a fly problem at my grandparents', and it takes us typically a couple of weeks before we finally realize that the potatoes are the cause. Anyway, I'm not really a big fan of wine. How come? I just can't enjoy it as some others do, I suppose. I'm willing to try anything at least once, though. Anything? Well, at least as far as food and drinks are concerned. Honestly, I'm not a fan either. I'm not a fan either, so I guess we don't need to waste a good bottle of wine by opening it. I mean, admittedly, I've never actually tried wine, but it's one of those things that... Okay, so years ago, probably a couple years before I reached legal age, I was with my family, my dad was drinking some wine, and I was talking about how when I get old enough to drink, I probably won't anyway, because all this beer and stuff doesn't smell good, so it probably doesn't taste good. And my dad let me take a sniff of his wine, and that didn't smell good either, so needless to say, I never tried wine. That said, for anybody interested, Maddie drinks a lot of beer and wine during his streams, and it's always pretty interesting when he gets a new kind of beer or wine. He goes into detail about his smell and his taste, and it's like really adds a flavor to his streams. Anyway, I'm not sure if this one would qualify as a good bottle. Don't tell me you just went for the cheapest one. Of course not. Everyone knows that you don't buy the cheapest stuff. You go for the second cheapest. Come to think of it, I may or may not have drank this wine with Bryce. Oh well. Just look at the time. I think we could start heading to the festival now. Sure, let's go. I think this is the first time I've gotten the chance to go to the festival before the final night. This is strange. Usually there'd be a crowd by now. Do you think they cancelled it? With Reza still being out there, maybe they thought it wasn't a good idea to have a public spectacle like this. Cancelled the summer festival? Inconceivable! It doesn't really look like a festival is going on right now, though. I don't know what's going on. Hey, I think I know this guy. Let's go and ask him. Is it going to be Katsuharu? No, it's Zong. Hey, Erika. How can I help you? So I noticed the game called him Zong, even though we haven't actually learned his name on this run. We were just planning to go to the festival, but it doesn't seem like there's much going on here yet. You came to the right place, but the festival is not starting for another hour at least. What? But the festival has always started at this time. You must have missed the memo then. They moved it by an hour. Something about the daylight and making the fireworks more visible as a result. Well, that's a shame. And I'm kinda getting hungry too. I can help you with that. What are you selling? Skewers, meatballs, all kinds of grilled things really. Well, I could go for some meatballs. How about you? I don't like meatballs. Except on spaghetti, but meatballs by themselves... they are a tier above meatloaf for me. And meatloaf is the food I hate the most. There's just something about eating meat, like hamburger meat, on its own. Ooh, you have grilled cheese. I'll take that. No problem. Just let me pack this up for you. I wonder what what cheese made by, made with Arak milk tastes like. Come to think of it, what kind of cheese do you think they even have? Certainly not going to have American cheese. Unless the administrator was from America and taught them how to make American cheese. It'd be funny if they had American cheese, but didn't know why it was called American cheese. Before says, I think narratively, the first ending it expects you to get is Remy's bad ending. It is probably the second most in depth after the true ending, and it is when the administrator tells you her name. I guess this makes us your first customers of the day. What do I owe you? For you two, it's free. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Have fun at the festival. Thanks. So, what do we do now? Should we go back? Well, we're already here and I got all this stuff. Let's just sit down somewhere. Sure. Oh boy, doesn't this scene look familiar? We went off to the side as more dragons arrived and started setting up their various booths. How are the meatballs? They're actually pretty good. How about your stuff? It's great. I'm surprised, honestly. You never know with stuff that comes out of food carts. You're right. Maybe we got lucky. Or maybe it's because it's still fresh. Who knows? I have never actually had a bad experience with a food cart. And I've had plenty of different things from food carts. I've had, let's see here, I've had pizza, I've had, like, hot dogs, of course. I've had funnel cake, that's always good. Man, I miss carnivals. What was that about fireworks, though? Is the big show coming up later? Oh no, the festival is just getting started, and there are fireworks every day. But the big show is what everyone wants to see. That one is happening in a few days. It officially concludes the festivities. I see. A while later, the festival had kicked off, and the crowds were already coming in. Dragons of all shapes and colors filled the paths, ready to see the sights the festival had to offer. Booths lined both sides of the way. It reminded me a lot of a typical carnival setup, with the booths being filled with shops, food stands, games, and much more. Seems the festival has already started. Let's go. You know what? How about we just stay here? I really don't like crowds. I've seen the festival so many times already. I'd rather just stay here with you. Aww. I thought you wanted to show me around, but I suppose we can just stay here if you'd prefer that. Buford says, I remember going to a fair as a kid and there was a police officer who let us shoot a real gun. Oh gosh, no way that would happen now. The main attraction is always the big fireworks show at the end of the festival, and that one is not going to happen today anyway. I just had a thought. What sort of carnival rides do you think these dragons have? They would have to be pretty sturdy in order to hold these guys. I mean, even young dragons, I could imagine weighing at least 200 pounds each. You think they have, like, carousel rides with horses? Probably not exactly horses. They probably have some other equivalent, though. Unless they learn to make horses based on guidelines from the administrator. That'd be pretty interesting if horses wound up being also mythical creatures in this world. It's like, nobody knows what a horse actually is, but we have them on carousels. So, why do we need to come here in the first place, then? Is something wrong? I just had to realize that as nice as it is right now, you'll have to leave this world again eventually. I've been alone for such a long time now. I didn't even have a single friend. In my job, I always have to smile when serving the customers. How could I be surrounded by people all the time, yet feel so alone? All those people have their own lives, families, friends, and relationships. Yet I had none of that. In a world where everyone else seemed to be happy, I was the odd one out who had to pretend in order to belong. How could that not have eaten away at me day after day? Yet one day, I heard about the plans of the humans coming here. Like many others, I was very excited at the prospect of our myths coming true. And then, the day came when Reza stepped through the portal, amidst all the pomp and fanfare you could imagine. It was quite a sight to behold, really. Alright, well that confirms that people knew that we were human before we came through the portal. You wouldn't believe how much joy I felt during that moment. Emma, of course, took all the limelight she could. First there was a big speech in front of a huge crowd, then a procession after she had officially welcomed Reza. When it was time for you to arrive, it was decided that it wouldn't be a public event this time due to security concerns. I knew that Emma wasn't going to be there as she wasn't able to make it all about herself. I begged her to let me do it, just to be able to get this close to a human at least once, to talk with them and see what they were like, to experience them. She told me that if I did a few favors for her, I could be the one to greet you. I knew that she wasn't going to be there anyway, but if I didn't do what she wanted, she would just send some other lackey instead. So I did everything she asked for. She did keep her word, though, and in the end, I was the one who would introduce you to this little world of ours. It might not have seemed like much to you, but with just us two and no one else being there, it was something very special for me. It was not just some public spectacle like the summer festival or Reza's arrival, but the first time in so long, I felt like that moment was about you and me, and no one else. For someone in my position, it just made me very happy to have such an extraordinary thing happen to me. And then to think I wound up ignoring Remy the entire game my first run. One date aside. I can definitely understand why the game would expect me to hang out with Remy, considering he was the one I met with at the very start. But I wound up just assuming that Remy would naturally be a part of the story, and I'd meet up with him automatically as the game went along. Prove me wrong. Of course, I was very curious to see how much our myths would line up with reality, and I was even more overjoyed when you visited me in the library. When you accepted my invitation and came into my home, I was just glad to have you there. It seemed like you wanted to be there, and weren't just someone out to use me in some way. I began to feel hope. Nobody tell him that I'm just hanging out with him just to get all the good endings, okay? When I met you in the park, I think the only reason I could tell you everything about myself was because I knew you were going to leave again eventually. And now, after all of this, I can hardly believe you're still here with me. Why wouldn't I be? You're just so nice to me. Yet, even after the time I've got to spend with you, it seems that soon I'll have to let you go again. I definitely wonder if I'll actually be able to return home. Because at one point during one of these runs, it was established that contact with my original timeline was completely severed. I think it was during the last ending we got. At least I got to know you. And thanks to you, I was also able to reconnect with Adine. Now, it just seems so petty to not have spoken with her for such a long time. All those times when I felt alone and depressed, I really was only a phone call away from someone who still cared about me. But now that you have, this also means that your worst times are over. You're not alone anymore. That is true. To some people, it may not matter much if they have one friend more or less. But you know what makes the biggest difference? Having one when you didn't used to. We even went to the orphanage together some time ago to help with the kids there. It seems one of them has taken quite a liking to me. That sounds lovely. I saw this coming. Her name is Vera, and she... Vera? I remember her. You know about her, then? It's such a sad story. Very. But enough about me. What will you do once you get back to your own world again? I'm not sure. I don't even know what will happen to me when I return. These last few days, a lot of things have happened that have changed my perspective on what I'm doing here. Reza and those who sent me. Is that a bad thing? I don't know yet. At the very least, though, I can say that I've done what I believed was right. You should be careful with rhetoric like that. What do you mean? That kind of talk makes it very easy to justify any means when it serves the right cause, whatever that may be. The more important thing is, have you done anything that you might regret? Okay, this first part right here definitely applies to Reza. As for things I might regret, no matter what you think, keep in mind that you may be held accountable for your actions by others or even yourself. Don't just do something because you think it's for the right reasons. Do it when you are aware of the possible consequences as well. You're right. I have no way of knowing what my actions here will amount to once I return. I should not have messed with those seashells. Do you really wish to go back to your own world? If I didn't, it would only serve to strain the relationship we've been trying to build with your people here, which is something that could be elementary for our survival. Besides, I didn't do it for those who reign over the city back home, or those who might have wanted to betray me. Let's not forget that even under the worst regimes, there are just normal people trying to survive too. I might as well bring this up while I'm thinking about it. During the opening sequence, oh thank you Kiba, regimes. But during the opening sequence of the game before the title screen, it shows off a bunch of dragons, and if you're paying close attention, I don't know which dragon it is, but one of the taglines by the dragon is betrayal. I actually did notice that during the first couple times I watched the opening, and during my initial run, I was so afraid that somebody during the game would actually betray me, and I tried not to pay attention to who the dragon was, because I did not want to be spoiled on who it would be. For what it's worth, I'm glad nobody actually betrayed me during this game, aside from, in a way, Reza. But I so thought like somebody would betray me and frame me for causing some sort of crime or something, which in part is why I was making absolutely certain to stay on the police's good side during that first run. I wanted to make sure that nobody thought I did something wrong. Anyway, people back home, if I had the power to make a difference for them, would it be right for me to just leave them be in order to seek my own happiness? That's exactly the kind of thing you were talking about, right? In the end, we all have to make our own decisions. I mean, if given the option in this case, yeah, it would be really important for me to go back home with all the stuff. It's important for me to save everybody, you know? I mean, sure, it's also important to save this world, but... I mean, we have time travel. I can bring all this stuff back to them, and then come back to this world to help save it. I mean, I don't have to be gone forever. Hopefully. If I leave them behind, then I leave them to people like Reza and those who sent me here. What would you want to do? Overthrow them? I don't even have the complete picture myself right now. How could I even consider what to do, given what I know? What I do know, though, is that if I don't do what they expect of me, there will be consequences. Maybe you'll just have to wait and see. That's not an option right now. Reza is still out there, armed and dangerous. Kinda like it. I wonder what the people back home are thinking right now. As far as I'm aware, Reza hasn't been communicating with them, and I definitely have not. And now the portal is broken. It makes me wonder who severs the connection between us and them. Excuse all the squeaking as I try to make myself comfortable in this chair. I don't have one of those fancy pants computer chairs that you see big streamers have. Honestly, I'm not really interested in one of those big fancy pants chairs. I'm fine with my basic computer chair. I mean, I don't need to spend $100 on a computer chair. I forget how much this one cost. But I'm pretty sure it was used. Anyway, don't you think that's a matter better left to our police force? It could be very dangerous for you to interfere. It's far too late to reconsider. I've already been tangled up in this too much. Besides, I can't stop now. Don't forget how many he has killed already. He won't hesitate to do so again in order to reach his goal. In the end, it's my duty to stop him. If I don't, how would your people look at humanity? How could I face you again, knowing that my negligence could cause suffering and loss for others here if I just stopped now? I wish I could be as brave as you. Don't think bravery has anything to do with it. He must be stopped, one way or another. I know. Just be careful, alright? I'll try. We've been here for a while now. How about I walk you back to your apartment? What about the festival? Well, if you still want to go, we could watch the big fireworks show together in a few days. That's an idea. Alright, let's do that. I watched Remy as he got up again, stretching himself in a way that reminded me of a cat before we prepared to leave again. I can definitely imagine what that must look like. Oh, you're still here. How's business? As expected, people always get hungry at these events eventually. Can I offer you some more meatballs? No thanks. I'm quite full from my earlier helping. How many meatballs were you given? I can't imagine it be that easy to fill a dragon's stomach. How about you, Erika? A tempting offer, but we're just about to call it a day. Darn, he should have asked me. I am getting very hungry. I don't know what supper is tonight, but I'm going to eat plenty of it if given the chance. Hopefully there's plenty of food. Well, at the very least, I know there's like lots of desserts after the holidays. I see. Are you going to watch the big fireworks at the end of the festival? That's the plan. Be sure not to miss it. You haven't seen anything until you see the fireworks. That's what everyone keeps telling me. Because it's true. Anyway, we should probably get going. Have a good day then. You too. And here we are again. Indeed. Did you want to clean out my bathroom cabinet as well or something? Don't look in the medicine cabinet. That's a good one. He gave a big sigh. You know how I feel. I guess I just wanted to make the most of this day. We're still going to see the fireworks together. That's true. You know, I'm very curious to see what your reaction to that will be. It's quite a sight to behold. Oh, just wait for it. People just keep saying that. Maybe you will too. We'll see. Thanks for the wonderful day, though. Likewise. Until we meet again. See you. Let's see here. Status. Abandoned? Aww. Did I receive a message to go see Adine? But I missed it because I was hitting the skip button? Well, dang. Well, I guess I am gonna wind up doing a separate Adine run then. Unless I go back to my previous save, but... Well, I was planning on doing a separate Adine run anyway. So that means, yep, Adine is off the list. Buford says you'll need another copy of the map. So it seems. Thanks for pointing that out. Well, that means then... I have no reason to meet with Lorem or Bryce. I would normally end the stream right now, but I know that in this case, we're actually really close to the end of the game. Because let me double check here. I can't remember what happens next. There is something. What comes next? I can't remember what comes in between this date and the fireworks. Is the fireworks next, or was there something else? Is what I'm asking. I can't remember. Alright, well, if the fireworks is next, then I won't end this right now. I don't think the final sequence will take all that long. In the end, I decided to spend the day relaxing in my apartment. Didn't know when things would start to pick up again, so I figured it would be better to get some rest as long as I still could. Grief. That's a new card. Night of turbulent dreams. Consciousness returned to the shores of waking world. Today is day of big fireworks. Who shall I bring? Remy! That must be him. Are you ready to see the fireworks? My body is ready. Really? That has to be intentional. Alright, let's go. After a few minutes of walking, we arrived at a rather empty-looking area near the edge of town. Looks deserted to me. I thought everyone was watching the fireworks. They are, but they're doing it somewhere else. I don't really like the crowds, and I think you would appreciate me leading you here if you knew what they were like. Yeah, everybody seems to do that for some reason. Better be safe than sorry, at any rate. That's what I'm thinking. This reminds me a bit of the night I arrived here. Everything was dark and empty, and it was just us walking through the landscape. Yeah, you're right. Oh, I think it's starting. Now, watch. We were quiet as we waited, and the stillness of the night enveloped us. Soon, I heard the sound of the first rocket making its way into the night sky, after which it exploded in a pattern of colors. More rockets followed, their thunderous noise echoing throughout the land. Suddenly, a terrible realization hit me. How public an event this was. Best time for Reza to do anything it planned to do. Sound of fireworks also overshadowed gunshots. Portal been repaired by the mysterious person. Now perfect time for Reza to make his getaway. Remy, I think we need to go now. What's wrong, Erika? I know where Reza is. We need to stop him. Shouldn't we call the police or something? We don't have the time. I'm not sure if I could fight him. You're right. If you're there, he probably won't hesitate to shoot. Maybe you could hold him off, and I'll try to get someone help. Alright, let's do that. Go! I started running as Remy's voice called out to me. Where is he? Where should I go? Oh, right, I should probably tell him that. The portal! He'll be there! Let's see how things play out here. I arrived at a portal a few minutes later. Still turned off. Looked around where he could be. Saw something in the corner of my eye. Suitcase leaning in the portal. Find a few eggs. So it's Reza doing the bad again. Underground building. Better to meet Reza underground. You spot the site where they unearthed the building's entry. Long illuminated hallway that was lined with doors on both sides. One of the doors open. Out came Reza, carrying a large cardboard box, set on the ground. Erika! You're here? You don't know how glad I am to see you. I wanted to talk with you for so long. I even tried to contact you, but I couldn't with someone tailing you the whole time. But talking can wait. Now that you're here, we've got everything. Come on, help me with this, and let's get out of here. No. What are you talking about? Not doing anything until you answer a few questions. Want to talk now? Why not? When did you realize we were in the past? How'd you know about the comet? Known for a while. How about you? Only recently found out. Seems so obvious. How could a supposedly completely different independent civilization speak the same language as us? I mean, English is a universal language after all. Not hard to make the jump from dragons to dinosaurs, prehistoric fruits. Just look at the sky. Point the PDA at the sky. He killed those dragons, Reza. No bleeps, Sherlock. Why'd you do it? Really need to spell it out? Grabbing the generators before the world ends. With just this one, we won't need any of the other generators. How could you do this? How could I do this? What harm is there really in taking their generators when their whole civilization gonna be gone in a few weeks anyway? Yada yada. How about we just don't let them die? They aren't going to be extinct anytime soon, if that's what you're concerned about. I paid the hatchery another visit before I came here. With the right persuasion? Oh, that's right. You're wanting to make them into slaves. How is that better? Get your priorities straight. Since when you don't think you have any say in this? Just let me through, you could do whatever you wish. Can't do that. I told you they need this generator to stop the comet, huh? Now you become their lucky. Still the same dialogue? There's a lot more dialogue than I remember. Oh, I remember now. At the end of the last run, it's like, you know what? I remember this conversation. We're not having it again. So, yada 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 indeed. Don't care what happens to them. I was at least trying to save humanity at any cost. You're getting philosophical now? If there was a different way, I would have spent the last few weeks doing what you didn't. Don't live in this fairy tale world. You're just used to this world because it's so much nicer. I won't let the same happen to them. Our world sucks and we need to save it. Gosh dang it. Why are you telling me this? I expect you to join me. Not gonna happen. Call yourself an ambassador. Dragons also need that generator, and I'm gonna stop you. We only need to wait until the comet has passed safely. Plan fails, not only this world gone, but we also lose any and all hope to save our own. We're so close now, can't take the risk. You only want to save your own two-faced hide, because you don't want to face consequences. Boy. That maniacal laughter. He is so lost. You can't stop me. Maybe I can. Suddenly Maverick and Remy appeared next to me. Remy is so uncertain about this confrontation. You planned this, didn't you, Erika? Traitor! And to think I let you distract me with such a cheap trick, just because I thought there was still a shred of humanity within you. Well, certainly more humanity in me than you. He pulled out his gun, not sure which one he should be aiming at. Just let me go, and I'll forget this thing ever happened. You got 6 bullets for 3 people. Do you think you can really do that, Reza? Do you think this is worth risking your life for? I've been risking my life for this every day for the last 2 weeks. What did you do during that time? Sip champagne in your nice apartment? Besides, this generator and the whole building came from our time. They belong to humanity. Suddenly, the administrator coming out of the shadows. No, they belong to me. Reza spun around. Who the bleep are you? Want to waste your bullets on me? Feel free. You can't stop all of us. Kind of think of it, before we move on, at the end of the last run, we went back in time with Reza, who flat out told the administrator, hey, I shot you. So, I'm betting the administrator is going to survive this time, because now she knows to wear a bulletproof vest. If you say so. Pulled the trigger and the administrator fell to the ground with a dull thud that knocked her mask off. No, maybe she didn't wear one. Never mind. Mortified by the display before me, I found myself unable to move as the events of the following seconds unfolded before my eyes. Okay. Really? You had to go for Remy first? Reza was quick with his gun and shot Remy once before Maverick could charge him. Well, it was only once. He can survive one shot. Maverick passed, snarling, and knocked Reza to the ground before embedding his teeth into the body before him. Well, he dead. Should have shot at Maverick first. Despite his thrashing and screaming, Reza managed to find his target and pulled the trigger twice. Immediately, the jaws dislodged. Reza pulled himself a few feet away while Maverick's body convulsed uncontrollably. Holding his bleeding wound and breathing heavily, Reza looked at me. You're not going to help me, are you? Then it is futile. He raised his gun, aiming at me while I regained my composure and tried to run. This is never a very comfortable sight. Being in a gun's sights. A single gunshot resounded through the hallway, and as soon as I heard it, a sharp pain shot through my back. I fell to the ground immediately. Oh dang, I didn't dodge it this time? He continued pulling the trigger, but no more bullets came. After a few seconds of silence, I slowly turned around. Reza was leaning against the wall, his head slumped forward lifelessly. Maverick and the administrator, both lying in a pool of their own blood, were not moving. I crawled over to Remy and was glad to hear him breathing. He had been hit in the side, and I saw blood trickling from the wound onto the ground below him. He raised his head, looking at me with an expression of pain. You're wounded. So are you. We need to stop the bleeding. I put some pressure on his wound, momentarily halting the blood that was trickling down his body. Can you do this? Let me try. He felt around his side, trying to get the right grip before he applied pressure on his own. I let go, and after a bit of adjustment, Remy could stop the bleeding on his own for now. I took off my shirt and briefly considered whether I would be able to use it to dress Remy's wound, but I soon realized it was not long enough to wrap around him properly. Besides, if he couldn't walk for now, it would not make a difference anyway, and he would have to stay here while he held his wound shut. Instead, I used the shirt to curb my own bleeding, folding it and wrapping it around my abdomen tightly. Look, Reza is gone, and that other person. Remy was right. Both Reza and the administrator were gone. You have to go. Go and stop Reza. Oh, you mean gone? Gone? I need to find you some help first. I can't just leave you like this. Don't you dare tell me you would be doing me any favors by saving me. If it's just going to be one of us, I don't want it to be me. You don't know how it is to live every day as I have, always wondering if the pain will ever stop or if things will ever change again. And when they finally do, you come along and tell me this? Don't do that to me. I'm not going through this again. What do you want me to do? This is bigger than us. Bigger than me. Just go. Go and stop Reza. Alright. I hobbled to my feet and made my way back outside. In the distance, near the portal, I saw Reza and something that was standing between them. As I drew nearer, I recognized it as Vera, who was growling at him. Don't you dare kill Vera! Reza aimed a kick at her, only to lose his balance and fall when she bit and held onto his shin. After he fought her off with a few kicks, his hand dove into his pocket to grab a few bullets, which he proceeded to load into his revolver. Don't you do it! I went as fast as I could, but with my injuries I had no chance to stop him as he aimed at Vera. Slowly, he got up again and walked over to the portal's controls when the administrator suddenly appeared behind him. Immediately, she was on him, throwing him to the ground before starting to pound his head with her fists. Together, they rolled down the slope of the small hill on which the portal stood. When they came to a halt, the fight resumed. There was a flurry of fists, and suddenly, I heard the distinct sound of a gunshot, after which the administrator slumped and fell. Eventually, I arrived, only to be able to confirm that both of them were dead. I went up to the portal and examined Vera for any signs of life. I found none. When I looked up again, I saw Remy looking at me with a pained expression. I stepped away, giving him some space as he stepped up to the small corpse. Oh, you had to have a image like this? After all that effort to ensure that we got a good ending with Vera, were you looking for me? Did she sneak out again? Poor girl. He enveloped her as his tears started raining down on the small body. Soon, more help arrived. Remy and I got all the medical attention we needed. Besides those we already knew to be dead, it was also too late for Maverick. I warned them about the comet, telling them to check the PDAs I had given them for verification of my claims. A few minutes later, EMTs arrived and I was put into an artificial coma due to my injuries. In the weeks I was out, a variety of things happened. After everything that had taken place, negotiations were fierce between humanity and the dragons. Oh, this time, communication was not severed. Out of respect, Ray's body was returned to humanity through the portal. While his actions had shattered all goodwill on the dragon's side, Ray's wounds did their job to do the same for humanity. I, too, was to be returned to humanity, but as my condition didn't allow it, humanity took the dragon's refusal to transfer me as a sign they were keeping me as a hostage. I wasn't a priority for humanity, though, a fact I was aware of well before I ever arrived in this world. As far as they were concerned, Reza and I had our chance, and the results weren't pretty. Ultimately, the dragons decided to return the PDAs before all contact was cut. Luckily, my claims were taken seriously, and there was already a plan in place to divert the comet. While they would have to use the lab's generators to do it, humanity decided to use their portal's power source to support their slowly falling city for a while longer as they looked for other, more long-term solutions. After I woke from my coma, I had to consider my options. While the dragons were able to create a new power source for the portal, I wouldn't have known how to send myself back to humanity, as their portal was already deactivated. At least not without the expertise of the dead administrator. The only coordinates remaining in the portal were those she left as a last resort. It turned out they were to send someone back in time to the day I arrived here. Yeah, and that's already been taken advantage of a couple of times at least, but I've yet to see the result of that. As soon as I could, I met with Remy, who told me about everything I had missed. So, the comet has been diverted, and you've replaced the power source for the portal. I guess I must have been gone for a long time. A few weeks, yes. As an aside, being put into a coma, oh gosh, that's gotta be a scary experience. Like, even being put out for a few hours for the sake of surgery, I would be terrified. What will you do now? I could use the portal to return to the day of my arrival. And after all, I came here to save our dying city, which is something I failed to do. But you saved us. That is true, but I can't help thinking that there could have been a diplomatic solution. If I just hadn't been in a coma during the negotiations. Whatever you want to do now, you can be sure that you'll have the council's support. You could just stay here if you wanted to. I bet you wouldn't mind that, would you? You know how I am. Humans just fascinate me. This isn't just about me, though. Of course, I would love it if you stayed with us, but I know there are many other factors at play here, and that it won't be an easy decision for you to make. Don't let me stop you from going back if that's what you want to do, though. I'll be fine. Are you sure about that? Yes. After all, I'm not alone anymore. In the last few weeks, I spent a lot of time with Adine, and I'd say we're pretty good friends now. As sad as it is what happened with Vera, there is another girl at the orphanage we've been taking care of pretty often. Maybe you've seen her. Her name is Emily, and she's just the sweetest little girl. Besides, if you really end up going back in time, I'll see you again. And that's the end of the conversation. Oh gosh dang it! So BR4 says, keep in mind that this is the, air quotes, good ending. You know, I'm getting the impression that everyone's good ending so far is, air quotes, a good ending. With Lorem, I barely got an ending. With Bryce, Maverick died. I feel like these are less good endings and more putting the pieces in place to have a good ending. Having some time travel shenanigans, giving everybody a good feeling about me, and time traveling, leeching memories, convincing them to avoid bad situations so that they survive to the end of the game. So this is the end of my Remy run. Actually, that took longer than I expected. Maybe I could have saved this for the next stream. Well, in any case, next time is going to be it's going to be my Adine run, properly. Which also involves partly dealing with Remy's run, because Remy gives me information, I'm pretty sure, to get the blueprint. Or was it, Adine who asked me? I'm not sure. Achievement unlocked, Casualties of War. You've seen Remy's good ending. Before says, in Remy's bad ending, it's really bad, like everyone dies except for you, Remy, and Izumi. The dragons, the humans, everyone. Okay, just real quick, gallery time. Where are you, Remy? There you are. These gallery images are definitely done by somebody else from the main game. Maddie says, he's cute though with Snug. Indeed, so would I. By the way, I noticed this earlier, but for absolute confirmation, Remy is not wearing a shirt. He literally is going Hanna-Barbera wearing just a tie. Oh, gosh. Of course Vera had to die. Well, hopefully in the game's true good ending, everybody survives. Anyway, that's it for today's stream. I need to figure out what I'm going to be doing for the next stream when I do my Adine run, because I have other goals in mind, but I also need to make sure that I do everything I need to do in order to get Adine's good ending. So hopefully Beer Force will be able to be around to help me through that. With that said, nobody I'm following is doing a stream right now, so no reading. I'll simply say thank you guys for watching, and I'm gonna go eat. I'm hungry.